Good morning, everyone. This is a meeting of the Environmental Control Board, and we're not calling it to order. Has everyone seen the minutes of the last meeting? Any comments or corrections? Is there a motion to accept them? I think that's unanimous. They're accepted. I would like to ask James Armstrong to do a presentation on proposed rules to amend ECB's building penalty schedule. Buildings Department.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is James Armstrong. I'm a law fellow at the General Counsel's Office. Today, I begin by presenting ECB's proposed rule to amend its buildings penalty schedule. This proposal is in response to the Department of Buildings proposal from last month. Today, ECB proposes a rule to modify its buildings penalty schedule in order to adequately enforce existing laws and rules and to reflect the changes brought about by Local Law 141, which went into effect on December 31st, 2014. Local Law 141 amended many sections of law, many codes, and it made several such amendments. It amended existing requirements, added new requirements, and renumbered existing sections of the affected codes. ECB also seeks to amend its buildings penalty schedule in order to reflect efforts by the Department of Buildings to update existing violations in the Department of Building rules by amending their sections of law and violation descriptions. Today's proposal has been certified by both the New York City Law Department and by the Mayor's Office of Operations. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Is there a motion? I think since everyone raised their hand, except Emily Oladi. I'm sorry. There's a cup of coffee in front of your name.
That's her real name.
With one negative vote, it is passed. Okay. I believe there's another one.
Yes, that's correct. All right, next, I will present ECB's proposed rule to amend its sanitation penalty schedule. Today's proposal is a response to two Department of Sanitation proposals from last month. And accordingly, today's proposal will have two parts. Therefore, I will go through the first part and see if there are any questions at that point, and then I will continue with the second part. So first, ECB proposes to amend its sanitation penalty schedule to create penalties for violations of Local Law 67 of 2014. Local Law 67 has already been enacted. It will become effective March 14, 2015. Local Law 67 relates to the regulation of publicly accessible collection bins. Publicly accessible collection bins may not be placed on city property, on property maintained by the city, or on public sidewalks or roadways. However, such bins may be placed lawfully on private property where the bin owner receives a written permission of the property owner, and the bin owner will list his or her name, address, and telephone number on the side of the bin. When Local Law 67 takes effect, once again on March 14, 2015, the Department of Sanitation will be authorized to immediately remove any publicly accessible collection bin based on public property and to issue violations to the bin owners. Further, where bins are placed lawfully on private property, bin owners must register and file an annual report with the Department of Sanitation. Further, the bin owner and the property owner will each be responsible for maintaining the bin in a clean and neat condition, and bin owners who fail to comply with these requirements will be liable for civil penalties. That concludes the first part of the proposal. Are there any questions at this juncture?
No questions? Is there a motion? Are we doing them together or are you doing them?
If possible, I would just continue on to the second part.
Okay.
That's all right, just so everyone can hear it.
All right.
Because it's all part of the same proposal.
All right.
Thank you. So next, I will go into the second part of the proposal. So ECB proposes to amend its sanitation penalty schedule to create a penalty for violations of 16 RCNY 1-04.2. So this prohibits the placement of electronic waste out for solid waste or recycling collection. So, as of January 1st of this year, 2015, the New York State Electronic Equipment Recycling and Reuse Act prohibits disposal of electronic waste and solid waste in the state of New York. So, the act prohibits electronic waste from being placed or disposed of in any solid waste management facility or being placed out for collection for disposal at a solid waste management facility or hazardous waste management facility in the state of New York. Pursuant to the charter, the Department of Sanitation is responsible for the operation functions of waste disposal. And further, under the Administrative Code, the Department of Sanitation is authorized to issue violations. Accordingly, in response to the new act, the Department of Sanitation promulgated 16 RCNY 1-04 in order to create a violation for placing electronic waste out for solid waste or recycling collection. So this proposal in full has been certified by both the New York City Law Department and by the Mayor's Office of Operations. Are there any questions?
No. Is there a motion? Then it's approved.
Thank you very much.
Also concludes DEP's request for cease and desist orders.
Okay, good morning. This month DEP has requests for 4 different types of cease and desist orders. First, the Bureau of Wastewater Treatment is asking the board to issue a cease and desist order to Silver Crust West Indian Restaurant and Grill at 1695 President Street in Brooklyn. The establishment has disregarded a series of commissioner's orders and violations for first, failing to provide access to their existing grease trap for inspection, and second, to install and maintain a 35-gallon per minute, 70-pound capacity grease trap on their 3-compartment sink. Based on the establishment's continuing failure to comply, DEP is requesting an order to cease and desist. I think each type of order vote on separately, or?
You can vote on each one separately. Are any questions? Motion? It's unanimous.
Okay. Next.
And I'm assuming you're an
Yes,
abstention.
extension. Thank you. Next, the Bureau of Environmental Compliance is asking for cease and desist orders with regard to 3 locations under the noise code. The first is at 150 Victory Boulevard in Staten Island, where the exhaust fan has been cited on 5 occasions over a period going back to November of 2013. The second location is at 5114 13th Avenue in Brooklyn, where the kitchen exhaust has been cited for excessive noise 3 times, going back to May of last year. And the third location is 228 West 18th Street, where the kitchen exhaust has been cited on 4 occasions going back to August of 2013. So in each of these 3 cases, DEP is asking that the board issue an order to cease and desist. since the responsible parties have failed to comply despite the series of violations that have been issued.
Question? Motion? And I think it's unanimous with one abstention. Is that it?
You understand? Okay, the next group is 15 requests for cease and desist orders under the air code. These all pertain to locations that have expired certificates of operation for using number 6 fuel oil. We're getting very close now, or somewhat close, to the June 30th deadline for all boilers to be off number 6. So this is the largest group of these requests that we've brought so far. And I'm not sure, but there may be even more of these coming over the next couple of months. There is one location, 5 Riverside Drive, where there are 2 separate requests because there are 2 boilers using number 6 at that location. In each of these cases, the respondent has been issued a notice of violation, been adjudicated, and they have failed to respond by converting. So in each of these 15 cases, DEP is requesting an order to cease and desist.
Questions? Motion? Again, it's unanimous with one abstention.
Correct. And finally, we have 28 requests for cease and desist orders for failing to install backflow prevention devices. In each of these cases, the building owner has been ordered to install the device, has been cited with a notice of violation for not doing so. The notice of violation has been adjudicated. There is still no compliance, and so the department is requesting an order to cease and desist.
Questions? Motion? Unanimous with one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly Corso will now give us a presentation on pre-sealing reports.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Corso, Assistant Director for Adjudications for ECB, and I'm here to discuss the pre-sealing reports for today's board. We have 26 today. 20 of the reports pertain to backflow violations, so I'm going to discuss the backflow violations first. 14 of the backflow cases, the hearing officers recommend that there be no sealing or other action given the respondent's compliance or because DEP has determined that the cited premises had no active water service. In 5 of the cases, the hearing officers recommend that the C&D orders be discontinued because DEP has determined that the respondents no longer own the premises, or because DEP has determined that the cited premises does not have its own water supply. In the final backflow case, the hearing officer recommended that the C&D order be discontinued because DEP has determined that no backflow prevention device is required at this time on the premises. Any questions on the backflow cases? Okay. Next, I'm going to move on to the air code cases. We have 4 of those. We have 5 of those today. 4 of those cases pertain to failure to comply with the air code in connection with the respondent's boiler burners. In 3 of those cases, the respondent's representatives provided proof of a valid operating certificate, bringing the boiler burners into compliance with the air code. In those 3 cases, the hearing officers recommended no further action is necessary given the respondent's compliance. In the remaining case, the hearing officer recommended that the C&D order be discontinued because the respondent's representative provided proof that the address on the order did not correspond with the respondent's address. A new order has been approved by the board with the correct address. Any questions on the air code cases? And the final cases are 2 noise code cases. These cases are in connection with the respondent's kitchen exhaust systems. In both cases, the respondent's representative provided proof of work done on the equipment to bring it into compliance with the noise code. Based on the evidence of compliance, the hearing officers in both cases recommend that DEP reinspect the equipment and that the equipment remain unsealed. If the initial reinspection show no violation and further re-inspections show no violations for a period of 180 days. Any questions?
That's it. Is there a motion to accept the report? It's unanimous. DEP is abstaining. I'll ask for a motion for us to proceed with executive session to discuss judicial reports and appeals. Unanimous. I will ask now that non-ECB or oath personnel please leave the room. I'll wait a second for anybody who may still be outside to come in. Nobody? Okay. We are now back from executive session. And we have 4 votes to take on the appeals. First one has to do with 110, the recommendation made on 110 appeals from the February 5 and February 19 appeals panel that was presented. Is there a motion on those? They're approved unanimously, I believe. We now come to 3 individual appeals that were discussed in executive session. One is in the matter of Clive Brian Carter. There are 2 alternatives. I'll first call for a vote on one, and if that does not have a majority, I'll call for a vote on the second one. Those in favor of the alternative granting the petitioner at the Parks Department request for a superseding appeal decision and finding that the respondent was in violation of Section 1-05B of Title 56 of the Rules of the City of New York for unauthorized vending. This finds that the expressive matter exception in 56 Rules of the City of New York, Section 101-05B does not apply to that respondent's vending of tickets for bus and boat rides. All those in favor? With one abstention by Lieutenant Albano, it is otherwise unanimous. The 2 other appeals are, the subject matter is related. The legal subject matter, that is. One is the matter of Anthony Phillips. Reversing the hearing officer's recommended decision, in order and finding the respondent was in violation for unauthorized vending under Section 1-05B of Title 56 of the Rules of the City of New York for unauthorized vending. This finds that the expressive matter exception in Section 1-05B does not apply to respondents' vending of tickets for bus and boat rides. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. It passes. And finally, matter of Donnell Dinkins. Reversing the hearing officer's recommended decision and order and finding the respondent in violation for unauthorized vending under Section 1-05B of the Title 56 of the Rules of the City of New York for unauthorized vending. This finds that the expressive matter exception in Section 1-05B does not apply to that respondent's vending of tickets for bus and boat rides in the park. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention? It carries. I'll just remind everyone to please sign in the sign-in sheet so we have a full record of everyone who was here in attendance. I thank you all very much, and we are adjourned.